Hello, my name is Alanis King, and this right here is a 2023 Lamborghini Huracan STO. It has a 5.2-liter V10 engine, 631 horsepower, and a tall rear wing combined with a very short ride height. This car also has a beautiful green paint job combined with red accents on the interior. So this is basically Christmas for me. This car is an absolute monster, and I cannot wait to show it to you today. But first, if you want to treat yourself to your own Christmas, this Huracan STO is now available on Cars and Bids. You can check out more photos, see the full spec list, or maybe even bid on it at the link in the description of this video. Before we get to this Lamborghini Huracan STO, let's talk about what it even is. The STO is a derivative of the Lamborghini Huracan, which debuted in 2013 as a replacement for the Gallardo. The Gallardo set wild sales records for Lamborghini, and it became a real cultural icon. In fact, when the Huracan debuted 10 years ago, Top Gear wrote at the time that of the 30,000 vehicles Lamborghini had produced over the course of its lifetime, nearly half of them were Gallardos. If you ask any normal person what a Lamborghini is, odds are a yellow Gallardo is what's going to appear in their head. That meant the Huracan had huge shoes to fill, and I think it's done a good job. I mean, we have cars like this, track monsters like the STO, and you have things like the Huracan Sterrato, which are off-road vehicles built from cars that are kind of difficult to go over elevation with. The original Huracan had a 5.2-liter V10 with about 600 horsepower, and whether by virtue of timelessness or just the fact that it's a supercar, its styling held up so well that the Huracan today still pretty much looks like it did when it debuted. Throughout much of its life, the Huracan slotted under the much more expensive Aventador in Lamborghini's lineup. Lamborghini produced the final Aventador last year. It's being replaced by the Lamborghini Revuelto, which is a plug-in hybrid V12. The Lamborghini Huracan is also near the end of its life, which means it is going to be gone with the wind, like my hair has been this entire video. Lamborghini sold out of the final Huracans earlier this year, and they plan to run production through 2024. But that means if you want to buy a Huracan, you gotta buy it secondhand like this guy. The Huracan still looks modern, but 10 years is old in the automotive industry. And when sports cars and supercars get old, we get to see their final forms, the really monstrous, expensive versions of the cars we have known for so long. That brings us to this car, the 2023 Lamborghini Huracan STO. This car starts at $335,000 MSRP, which is about $100,000 more than the base Huracan. This is the racetrack-ready version of the Huracan, even though any Lamborghini would do just fine, and it is a really interesting blend of Lamborghini and race car. It's bare and raw, yet it's also gaudy and screams at everyone for attention. It's minimal, but it's excessive all at the same time. STO stands for Super Trofeo Omologata, and omologata is Italian for homologation. Many motorsport series require manufacturers to homologate their race cars or give them a tangible link to vehicles that can be purchased for the road, even if very few people purchase them. My mom is behind the camera right now, and she says homologation sounds like something you would hear in a Queen song. So I'm just sitting here with Mamma Mia, STO going through my head. The concept of homologation is how you get homologation specials, which are race cars designed to be road legal. This is less for their sales potential and more so their counterparts can race, but customers often drive these recreationally on the racetrack too. The Huracan STO has 631 horsepower and 417 pound-feet of torque. All of that comes from a 5.2-liter naturally aspirated V10 engine, and it goes to the rear wheels through a 7-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission. And you can see that engine courtesy of the fact that I can just take panels off of this car. The keys to the Huracan STO come with this little tri-point little unlocker that you can put in locks on the vehicle that have the engine cover, and the front of the car. You can just pick them up and take them off. Now, just like you can take the engine cover off of this car, you can also take the front off. You take that same little tri-point key and you unlock the sides of the car. So we twist it to the unlock position, then we move to the other side. There we go. Press the little button on this side, it'll lift this up. Press the button on the other side, and then, whoop. And you do all of that to realize you have zero frunk space. Now you can obviously see that all of this is carbon fiber, but just to underscore how light this is, it's windy right now, as you have probably seen from my hair flying all over the place. This is shaking in the wind. It's so light. This particular car, like many Lamborghinis, has a bunch of expensive options. And the top option on this car is the paint. It's called Verde Lucido. And you know, I took a year of Italian in college, but I could not tell you what Lucido meant. So I Google translated it. It means shiny. And this shiny green comes to you for $14,000. This car also has upgraded 20-inch wheels, which cost $2,000 extra. And then we get to the convenience features, which honestly shouldn't really be convenience features. They should probably be included, but here they cost extra. The first is the nose lift system, which will cost you $4,100 from the factory. And a nose lift is basically what it sounds like. You lift the nose and you lower the nose. And you end up needing the nose lift a lot in a car like this. You'll be at an intersection, you'll be in a parking lot, you'll be anywhere, and you'll lift the nose proactively just to make sure you don't scratch that front splitter, because you don't want to. And it's fascinating to me that someone would buy this car without that nose lift feature. The only way I feel like you could get away with not doing a nose lift feature is if this is a track only car for you. But if you're taking this anywhere but the track, you want to be able to raise that nose and lower it. Another optional feature on the Lamborghini Huracan STO is cruise control. That's right, it costs $1,000 in this car. Now the price has actually gone up, because when I drove the Huracan STO last year, it was only 800 bucks. Now you gotta spend even more. And I feel like optional cruise control really underscores what this car is. This car is a race car. It's not meant for your long highway drives across the country. If you really wanted to do that, you could, it just wouldn't be super comfortable. This thing is meant to go through your favorite turns at your favorite racetrack, not cruise at cruise control. And as I always say about my 2004 Mazda Speed Miata, race cars don't need cruise control. Inside the Lamborghini Huracan STO, you'll notice there is not a lot of space in here. The only space I have for the stuff I brought with me is in the passenger seat, because there is no frunk space, there is no trunk space. All you've got is what's at your feet, what's in your lap, and what is next to you. And if you happen to have a passenger next to you, it's whatever is in their feet and at their lap. Like, they're gonna have to stack stuff over there because you don't have any storage. We also have these red seat belts that cost $1,800, but match really well with our red center line on the steering wheel and our red pull tethers on the doors. The thing about this car that I think is so apparent when you get inside of it is that ribbed engine cover that we took off the back completely obstructs any view you have behind you. So you have to pay a ton of attention to what is going on when you're in traffic, because you look in the rearview mirror, all you see is ribbing. You look in the side mirrors, all you really see is wing. You have to be so aware of what is going on outside of this car because you're small. Obviously, everyone's taking photos of you and looking at you, but ultimately this car is small and you don't have a lot of visibility, so you have to pay tons of attention. This entire interior is made of red stitching along with suede everywhere and carbon fiber. And then in the center, I have this tiny little infotainment screen, interactive screen that has my vehicle settings and whatever else I need. It's very, very small. That is obviously not the focal point in this car. Then I have all of my nice switches and everything that I need to do stuff with. So when I had a Huracan STO last year, it was my first time in a Lamborghini, and someone pulled up next to me at a stoplight and they started like trying to talk to me about the car. And that's when you realize that everything in a Lamborghini is in a spot you wouldn't expect it to be if you drive normal cars. So to roll down your windows, you don't use anything on the doors. No, of course not. You use the little lever in the center of the car. To use your turn signal, it's actually on the steering wheel. You flick your thumb back and forth over a little toggle on the steering wheel. And I remember getting in this car and thinking, I don't know how to do anything. I have to figure that out because this man is yelling at me and I can't even roll down the window. He probably thinks I'm ignoring him, when really I just didn't know where the controls were. But this car does not have a lot of controls. They're just sometimes in places that you wouldn't expect them to be. So once you get used to it, you're easily very, very used to it. This car isn't just tight storage-wise, it's also tight to sit in. So when I'm in this seat, it has very high, stiff bolsters that squeeze my shoulders and legs together. And if you have bigger hips or you have any shape in your thighs and your hips, it does squeeze you a little more when you're in a vehicle like this. And I mean, I get used to it pretty quickly, but you never look good getting in or out of a supercar, and you also don't look good getting used to being in one. So like, that's just something that you have to accept. If you are going to spend this much money on a vehicle, you have to accept the fact that you're not going to look very graceful getting out of it, and you just hope the fact that you bought this car makes up for your lack of grace. Other things you'll notice in this interior are there are some analog stuff, obviously to save weight. So to move my seat up and back is literally like my 2006 Honda Civic I used to have. It is manual adjustments in here because you want to save weight, right? You don't want the extra cruise control, you don't want power adjustments, anything like that. All of that adds weight, and this car is supposed to be light and ready to take on the racetrack, not comfortable. So I have a little routine that I show people whenever I have a Lamborghini. I put them in the passenger seat and I show them all the basic things. I show them the nose lift feature right here. You pull the little lever and the nose goes up. And then I put the nose down. I show them the turn signals that are on the steering wheel. And then I show them that this is not a normal car. This is a Lamborghini. So in order to put it in drive, there is no drive button. You click the up paddle shifter and then you go. I think the most interesting part of a supercar is that while it is so invigorating and incredible and amazing and strong to drive on the racetrack, you put it out on the road and you're like, oh, it looks like there's a little bit of elevation dip up there. I guess I gotta lift the nose. And you have to go so slowly over everything because you don't want to scrape the splitter on this car. I think it's such an interesting juxtaposition to compare being the coolest car on track versus being the car that needs a lot of help on the road to not get scratched. This car sounds so good on the road. And I mean, everybody's looking at you. You're in a bright green Huracan STO and you're making a bunch of noise. Everybody's filming you, everybody's staring at you, and you're sitting here trying your best not to scrape anything because that's the hardest part of having this car out on the road. And like, quite literally, I will pull up to an elevation change, see it, and I'll go, oh no, I have to lift the nose, and I'll just wait until the nose lifts. And the thing about this car is you have to be hyper aware of every single thing that is going on around you, because I look out of my rear view mirror and literally the little piece we took off of the engine cover we took off earlier, that's all I see when I look in my rear view mirror. There is nothing back there. And it's particularly disorienting at night. Obviously it's daytime right now, but when it's nighttime and you have just all of those ribs back there, you can't see anything. The ride in this car it's not smooth, it's rough. You're shaking around all the time because the suspension is really, really stiff. You're in these seats with really high squeezy bolsters. Like, you never forget what car you're in because this car is built to squeeze you in and get you to the racetrack. Now, visibility out of the back, not good at all. Visibility out of the front is great because you don't have an engine up here. You don't have anything blocking your view. You don't have this giant hood towering over everything. Like, I can see great in front of me. It's just behind me that's the challenge. I also find myself, when I'm in a Lamborghini, I find myself like reaching for a turn stalk with this hand, and I have to remember the turn signals are on the steering wheel. I have to flick them with my thumb, but that is just another reminder that you are fancy and you are great and you're in a Lamborghini, and Lamborghinis don't do normal turn signals. Why would they do that? I mean, this car, I think the most amazing thing about a car like this is that you can never feel the extent of what this car can do on the road. I mean, I have taken a Huracan STO on Angeles Crest, on like the road in California, and you can't even challenge this car. You can't put it at all out of sorts because this car is so good. This car is meant for the racetrack. You can't challenge this car. You can have fun, you can accelerate, you can do whatever, but you're not gonna throw it for a loop. You'll notice that my position changed on the camera. That is because my suction mount is now not working. So I'm trying to talk to y'all, and in between every single take, my wonderful mother is pressing the suction to get it to suction more so it doesn't fall and hit her in the face pretty much. Oh, we'll do that again. That was fun. Okay. The thing I love about supercars and extremely fast cars is they have like that fake floor on the gas pedal. So you press the gas and it just like, you know, kindly accelerates, but it feels like you're on the floor, right? And then you press it a little further and then it just goes, and it's just gone. Like it, and every single time it is such a joyous experience to hit that like fake floor and then push it further and just have the car rip and just make that just like wail that you just so want it to make. Oh my goodness. Now, of course, we are in suburban Dallas, so not a lot of great roads here, but we do have highway to accelerate on. This is such an enjoyable car to drive. I mean, I've driven this car for multiple days at a time, not this exact STO, but another STO, and you get used to all of the quirks. You get used to the fact that you don't have all of the comfort that you normally would. You get used to the fact that you're just gonna shake when you go over stuff because the suspension is so stiff. I mean, you get used to the fact that you can't see out of the back of the car because that is the sacrifice you make to drive this kind of car. And driving this car shows everyone around you, you are willing to make that sacrifice, you're willing to pay to make that sacrifice, and you are cool for doing it. So that was the 2023 Lamborghini Huracan STO. This is a monster of a vehicle, and it will make you feel like a superhero or a villain speeding toward a major plot point in a movie. And if you want to feel like that superhero or villain, this Huracan STO is now available on Cars and Bids. You can check out more photos, see the full spec list, or maybe even bid on it at the link in the description of this video. Otherwise, we'll see you next time.